So good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in the heart of Las Cruces, where we like to celebrate our vision of a world and loving partnership for the good of all. I want to thank you all for joining us today. We've worked really hard and we are going to be able to open up again in person. So next Sunday, February 20th, for those of you who are comfortable, please come on in and join us live at 11 o'clock. Please wear your mask. And there are several other things that are still happening in the building or starting back up again, so please be sure to read your newsletter or check out our website to see what's happening. We have some upcoming workshops as well. And we are making plans for our next treasure sale to be the last weekend in April. So we are looking for folks to help us set up prior to that, as well as people to work on that day. You can collect your things and bring them in starting on April 24th. Now, please welcome our practitioner in service.
Hello, my name is Teresa Valenzuela, and I am the practitioner in service today. We believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. You can use our prayer request button on our website to leave your prayer requests. Our prayer team, made up of practitioners and ministers from the 4 local New Thought communities, meet each Tuesday afternoon to pray with you. In addition, we're available at any time. The practitioners here at CSL, just give the office a call and we'll return your call to you. Now it is time for song, silence, and prayer.
In this moment, I am love. Love is this moment. Love, love, love. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am truth. Truth is this moment. Truth, truth, truth. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am still. Still is this moment. Still, still, still. This moment is what I am.
So as we come together at this moment and just stepping into that place of gratitude, breathing in and out and just opening up our hearts and our minds to the message that we are about to hear, to the love that just goes out through the internet, through the music, through all the lovely hearts that make this service possible. We know that there is one creative mind, and we just are in step, in tune with that creative spirit, that God, the universal energy power. And just knowing that God is all there is, and that we are one with and in God, and that our thoughts and our actions are just in alignment with that beautiful compassion, joy, kindness, always grounded in love and law. And so just once again, being here rejoicing in this moment that we have together. And so it is. So this month's theme is Living Everyday Wonder, the Inner Life. And I found a little short portion of Ernest Holmes' magnificent words in the creative mind that I'd like to share with you today. The power we have within us. We have within us a power that is greater than anything that we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and in a new life. Mind. All mind is right here. It is God's mind, God's creative power, God's creative life. We have as much of this power to use in our daily life as we can believe in and embody. The storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our life. But the awakening must be on our part and not on the side of life. We stand at the gateway of limitless opportunity in the eternal and changeless now. Now is the day in which to begin the new life that is to lift us up to the greater expression of all that is wonderful. The word that we speak is the law of our life, and nothing hinders but ourselves. We have, through ignorance of our real nature, misused the power of our word, and behold what it has brought upon us, the very thing that we feared. But now it shall produce a new thing, a new heaven, and a new earth. And so it is.
You think that people would have had enough of silly love songs? But I look around me and I see it isn't so. Some people want to fill the world with silly love songs. And what's wrong with that? I'd like to know. 'Cause here I go again. I love you. I love you. I love you. I can't explain the feelings plain to me. Now can't you see? Oh, you give me more, you give it all to me. Now can't you see what's wrong with that? I need to know. 'Cause here I go again. I love you. I love you. Love sometimes comes in a minute. Sometimes you don't feel it at all. I only know that when I'm in it, love isn't silly. No, it isn't silly. Love isn't silly at all. my loved ones. You think that people would have had enough of silly love songs? But I look around me and I see it isn't so. Oh no. Some people want to fill the world with silly love songs. And what's wrong with that?
I'm excited to welcome to the platform today Reverend Bram Watkins, who is a native New Mexican and was raised in La Union, New Mexico, and El Paso, Texas. Reverend Watkins was an MBA from the American Graduate School of International Management, Thunderbird, in Phoenix, Arizona. He has a BA in Spanish from the University of New Mexico, a master practitioner degree in neuro-linguistic programming from NLP Learning Systems in Dallas, Texas, and is an ordained interfaith minister by One Spirit Interfaith Seminary in New York, New York. Reverend Watkins is a student of the science of mind, unity teachings, and pranic healing. He has served as a guest speaker over the past 17 years at local churches here in Las Cruces and in El Paso. For his complete bio, please read our newsletter. Presently, I am very excited to welcome back to our platform Reverend Bram Watkins.
Well, good morning, everyone, and namaste. I am so grateful to be able to be here with you today through the miracle of technology, since we're not back in person just yet, but we look forward to doing that very soon. The theme for this month is Living Everyday Wonder, and my title for today is the same as the Science of Mind magazine for this month, which is In Tune with the Inner Life. So why is the inner life important if we live in an external world? Or where do you go to look for your answers? And whenever I go to the outside world to look for my answers, usually just takes a little bit longer to find what I'm looking for. I believe that if we turn to the outside world for answers, not only will it delay my answers from coming to me, but can often make the situation worse. You know, I've talked to you all many times about the bicycle wheel, that analogy. And if we go to the outside world looking for our answers, whether it's in food or work or exercise or anything in the outside world, it's like being on the outside of this wheel, and this centrifugal force just slings us around. We won't find our answers there. But if we'll travel down just one of the spokes, any of the spokes, to the very center, there is no movement at the center or the hub of the wheel. It says, be still and know that I am, and I believe that's where we find our answers. So reading the Science of Mind magazine this month, I was reminded what we believe in, and it's at the very front of the magazine, and it goes over a number of things, but I was surprised to see how many things where it talks about going within to find the answers. It says, we believe in the individualization of the Spirit, where? In us. And that all people are individualizations of that one Spirit. We believe that heaven is where? Within us. And that we experience to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God is the innermost God, the one God. And we believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So a few months back, Reverend Bonnie quoted Ernest Holmes, as we often do. Holmes says, the secret place of the Most High is within us. We contact the mind of God at the center of our own being. It is useless to seek elsewhere. The highest God and the innermost God is one God. Through the medium of mind, we unify the universe and contact a power that can do anything for us as long as we are able to conceive of it doing so. I think that's a key point. So I try to stay focused, or if I stay focused on the outside world, as I've mentioned, the issues get bigger and the problems get bigger. And I can easily spin out of control if I focus on my thoughts of fear instead of getting quiet and going within. But if I contact that If I tap in, tune in, turn on to that still small voice within, I can find the balance, or what Reverend Bonnie talked about last week, the wholeness that we look for. When faced with problems and challenges, I do try to remember to go in first, but sometimes I react before I respond. But if I get focused and present, I can usually find the answer. But this requires me to keep my mind right, which means to think more about the solution than the problem. But it also means that I need to tell the story of how I want it to be instead of the way it is. And again, I've gone over this many times as well. It's what Abraham calls the art of allowing, which really means focusing on that thought that feels best, not the thought that is the real thought. But you say, oh, well, everybody wants me to tell it like it is. Well, as Abraham puts it, only tell it like it is if you like it like it is. But if you don't like it like it is, tell it how you want it to be until it feels like you want it to be, and eventually will be like you want it to be. We must focus on the best feeling thought that we have access to at the time. And that's a tough thing to do when you're going through a very difficult situation. But if we continue to stare at the problem, we're only giving more energy to the problem and not the solution. Holmes said, we have within us a power that is greater than anything that we shall ever contact on the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in your life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and in a new life. He continues saying, I realize there is a divine presence where? At the center of my being. He let this recognition flow through my entire consciousness and flow down into the very depths of my being. Holmes not only understood the value of delving into our inner life, he also taught that as we do so, through our divine intelligence, this will inspire and guide our thoughts, paving our way in the new world. Holmes states that there is that within which knows best and how to do it, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Spiritual sages throughout the years have spoken of this wellspring of inner wisdom, accessible to each of us, but we don't always avail ourselves of this divine presence in our day-to-day experience. And I was reminded by this by another quote that I found from the Roman philosopher Seneca that said, the great blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach, but we shut our eyes and act, and like people in the dark, we fall foul upon the very thing that we're searching for without finding it. So as we engage in spiritual practices that connect us to the source within, we learn to trust and have faith in the divine intelligence found there. We now see that the spiritual connections between our inner world and the outer world around us, whether we are on the surface of life engaging or delving down deep in quiet reflective time, our inward voyages make us more profoundly aware of the divine presence that exists everywhere within us and in all things. Holmes goes on to write, we must not look afar to see the Christ, for he is ever near at hand and always within us. But one of the dilemmas that we have in spiritual life is how we find the Christ consciousness and bring it forth into our everyday life. Michelangelo said every block of stone has a statue in it, and it is the task of the sculptor to find it. So back in 2008, I took a course at Unity called the 4 T's by Stretton Smith. It's the tithing of your time, your talent, and your treasure. The course taught me to go within to look for my answers. You know, I used to think that God was an old white guy in a white beard and a white robe sitting out on a white cloud somewhere out there away from me, very apart from me. But in Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady, she writes, God is not a supreme being with a flowing white beard and long white hair and a white robe somewhere out there in the heavens, reaching out, dispensing good to those who have been good, for whatever the latest definition of good is, or dispensing punishment to whatever the latest definition of bad is. God is not a being dispensing good or bad. And I don't know about you all, but that was I don't want to call it the lie, but that was the pretense of what I was raised with in Christianity. And that it's taken a very, very long time to get those synapses out of my brain, if you will, out of my computer. God is not a being with qualities or attributes, but is the good itself coming into expression as life, love, wisdom, and power. What I learned over the course of that 3-month class is that God is not a being that is love, but God is love itself. God is the allness of love. When we express love, we are allowing God to express through us. You know, there's a saying that God can do no more for us than what God can do through us. God is not a being that is wise. God is the allness. God is the wisdom of wisdom itself. God is the allness of wisdom. Whenever we express wisdom, we are allowing God within us to express as wisdom through us. Again, we are not acted upon by God, but we are the activity of God expressing as us. Huge difference. Prayer does not change God to act upon us as we desire, but rather prayer changes us and it allows us the activity of God to express through us as more fully to bring forth our heart's desire. So ask yourself right now, where does your mind first go when you begin to pray? Where does your mind go? Is it still focused outside of you? Do you go to something outside of you? Do you still have some idea, perhaps a remnant in your mind of some supreme being that is going to interact with your prayer somewhere out there? Are you listening for the thunder and the lightning or the earthquake? Or is your attention focused on the still small voice within? See, most of us, like me, I was trained to go outside of ourselves, to a being out there rather than within. And we were reminded to keep in mind that the process of life is always lived from the inside out, from within to without. So ask yourself, if God were to interact with your prayer successfully, would you know why? And if God did not interact successfully and your prayer was not answered, would you know why? See, Stretton Smith believes that prayer is not a wordy plea. It's not an emotional plea, nor a heart-wrenching plea. Prayer is not just a ritual, and it's not just a custom to be followed. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 7, the master teacher Jesus said, "And in praying do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words." We often use the 3 B's when it comes to personal crisis, times that we're going through the dark night of the soul, if you will, where we beg, beseech, or bargain. But we rarely use prayer in our everyday lives to expand our awareness that the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, is within us. I used to pray like a begging 3-year-old child in the cereal aisle at the grocery store. "Mommy, can I have this? Mommy, can I have this?" Over and over and over again. And you got to think about it. If you continue to ask, it's like where you don't believe that it's going to come to pass. But through the 4T class, I found a better way. So the purpose of the 4T prosperity program, I thought it was going to be about prosperity, but it was about so much more. It just shook the foundations and the fundamental aspects of how I thought about my faith. Paul talks about, I think it's in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that's exactly what happened to me when I was going through this class. Universal law establishes that when you change your mind, your prayer must be answered. Whenever Jesus was asked to heal someone, the first thing that he would say to them was, "Do you believe?" Or translated into today's language, "Can you accept the good that you're asking for?" God must respond to a changed mind because that's the law. Prayer does not change God in any way. Prayer changes us. Ernest Holmes wrote, "As we plant a seed before we can reap a harvest, we must believe before our prayers can be answered." Prayer is not begging, hoping, pleading, crying out, beseeching, but prayer is claiming, affirming, thanking, and accepting, taking dominion over your desires, all stated in very positive terms. So the result of prayer is belief. So historically, we've prayed by asking God for something or to do something for us. But ask is a word that tends to take us immediately right outside of ourselves, to that being out there with the old expectation that God is going to act upon us and interact with our desire. But that doesn't work that way. At least that's what I've come to find out. When we're one with our inner universal spirit, we're able to ask believing that we're going to receive. There's nothing on the outside that is going to respond to us in prayer. It is the indwelling spirit of God within us that acts upon us and will respond to our changed mind when we have come to believe. So instead of praying from a point of weakness, I want, I wish, I hope, pray affirmatively. God helps me, God guides me, God prospers me. Positive thoughts, positive prayer, prayer to which God can respond. In the class, the 4T class, we were taught a 3-column prayer. And in the first column is your word for God. The second column is where is God? And then the third column is what do you want? What's your heart's desire? What are you asking for? So think of these things. Your name for God, where is God, and what would you like? So Father, Mother God, within me, illumines my imagination. Infinite presence, active within me, prospers me now. Divine right action, expressing in me, heals me now. Divine light shining within me reveals to me what I need to know and what I need to do. Universal energy beaming within me cleanses my past and present. Another one, supreme intelligence, actively expressing within me, guides me to my highest and best. Note the 3-column prayer when Jesus said, "It is not I, but the Father within that does the works." Not I, but the Father within does the works. You can also use the term I am, which takes care of the first 2 columns, because I am is your true name. It's your God-given name. It's the place where your creativity comes from. So I am takes care of the first and second column. I am prospered. I am healed. I am whole. The point of all prayer is to get into the feeling or the expression, to get that feeling of your I am, which is your creative genius that flows from within to the without. So it's been about 14 years since I first took that class, and it has literally taken me many, many years to stop that first thought, that first process of going external and to stay within. Now when I start to pray, I can't remember the last time that I asked for something. Now I just say thank you for. Thank you for divine right action. Thank you for healing. Thank you for blessing my family. Thank you for watching over my business. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. All having the feeling first, and then the thought and the words, expressing it in a way that God can make it happen for you. I believe Reverend RJ told me the very first time I heard this in Mark, I don't know if it's chapter 11:6 or 6:11, but in Mark it says, pray in believing that it's already done. You must believe in what you're asking for. As Jesus said, can you accept the good that you're asking for? You got to have the feeling. So for me, prayer is claiming for what we desire from Spirit, whereas meditation is being quiet and listening for the answers, the be still and know that I am. So in order to quiet our monkey mind, you've got to get still and listen to that still small voice. So back in 2009, when I went back and studied at the Chopra Center, they taught us there's 4 things that can happen when you do your meditation. That you focus on the mantra. They gave us a very nice mantra. You can get distracted. You can fall asleep, which that works quite well for me. Or you can slip into the gap. And I always thought slipping into the gap was the goal of meditation. But a few years later, I figured out that that's not the case. But no matter which of those 4 happened, for me, it was fantastic because I learned that I couldn't get it wrong no matter what I did. And for somebody that doesn't like to get things wrong, that was liberating for me. So while some of my meditations are better than others, whether it's that 30 minutes a day or whatever I spend, you can quickly tell whether I've spent the 30 minutes a day meditating to prepare for the other 23 and a half if you cut me off in traffic. Because if I've been meditating, I'll wave at you with all 5 fingers. And if I haven't, then you might get something less than 5. So I'm always working on me. So in this month's issue of Science of Mind magazine, there's Dr. Edward Viljoen writes, without meditation, life can become self-directed and unintentionally dependent on outer circumstances. A spiritual life based on intellect alone misses an opportunity to gain access to the wisdom and peace that is always inside of us. Meditation allows access to that more expansive part of our being where intuitive wisdom, expansive thinking, and enduring love can be drawn upon to guide us. What method you use to get there seems less important than that you go on that journey. So let me read that again. What method you use to quiet the mind is less important than that you go on the journey. There is beautiful power released in you through meditation, and it is the power of your inner life. In his book, Simply Pray, Eric Wickstrom states, the practice of meditation is really about establishing inner stillness. Let me read that again. The practice of meditation is not really about establishing inner stillness. It is about making the decision to establish inner stillness. Every time you notice that you've become distracted, you choose then and there to simply return to your practice. No recriminations, no condemnations, just the gentle recognition that you've become distracted and the decision to return. It is this three-part movement, the getting distracted, noticing the distraction, and deciding to let the distraction go and return. That is, in fact, the practice of meditation. The moments of stillness are one of meditation's byproduct, not the practice itself. So again, just one more opportunity that I can't get it wrong. And I just didn't know that that truly was the focus of meditation. So just like in meditation, Henry Nouwen said, the whole course of spiritual life is the falling off and returning, the slipping away from truth and turning back to it, leaving and returning. So I believe that the answers to our questions, they live and they lie within us. Like the bicycle wheel analogy, if we'll just take the furthest trip that we'll ever take in our lives, about 18 inches from the top of your crown to the center of your heart, if we'll just go down one of those spokes to the inner intelligence and the beauty of your heart, that's where all the answers will come from. And as we enjoyed this month of love and Valentine's, I wore my red tie for everybody today. I'm reminded that time does not heal all wounds, but love heals all wounds. You know, in any of the truth books I've ever read, I still can't find where it tells me I have to like somebody, but it does tell me that I am required and inspired to love people. Love your neighbor as yourself and your Lord God above all else. The key is to have enough self-love that we can offer something to somebody else, because we really can't give away what we don't have. If you haven't seen it yet, please watch last week's message by Reverend Bonnie. She talks about the Japanese healing tradition, and I hope I pronounce this right. I think it's Kintsugi. It is absolutely wonderful and gave me an entire new understanding on how to deal with mistakes, how to deal with the broken vase of your life, if you will. It was absolutely beautiful, and highly encourage you all to watch that. And I want to leave you with a quote from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He says, "The purpose of all major religious traditions is not to construct big temples on the outside, but to create temples of goodness and compassion on the inside within our hearts." Namaste. And now, if everybody will get comfortable, we're going to go ahead and move into a meditation. In this time of prayer, we focus on the Heavenly Spirit within us and allow God to be our God that knows how to care for our every need. Find that comfortable position, take a deep breath in, release, and let it go. Let go of the past and anything that would stand in the way of knowing God, God's love we share together, and the peace that passes all understanding. Now allow your human mind to be open. Gently open your heart to God's love. Allow the presence of love to be felt, and relax in this presence of God's love. Past limitations begin to fade away now. I let go of any extraneous thoughts which come. I choose not to judge them or wish they weren't there. I just let them be. I let them pass from my sight. I let go of those I have judged or criticized, and those who have hurt me along the way. I release all of these thoughts, all of the judgments, all unforgiveness, all the "I wish it were different" thoughts into God's loving hands. Now I turn the other cheek in the other direction towards the presence of God. My time is too precious to dwell on the past. I want to know God and to follow in Jesus' way of expressing God's love. I am God's beloved child, created in the image and after the likeness of goodness, perfection, joy, and harmony. And although I can make many mistakes along the way of life, there is something within me that reaches out in love towards my own humanity. Sweet Spirit, I am willing to love the unlovable part of myself, the part that makes mistakes, and the part that struggles and forgets the truth of God. This is an experience of my own spirituality to unconditionally love the unlovable. The love within me, the healing power of the divine, expresses uniquely through me. This is my purpose in life. Now I am filled with compassion instead of judgment, understanding instead of criticism. Dear God, truly we are one. As we walk this loving journey together, I am unfolding in your presence the truth of my being. Thank you, God, for reminding me of who I am and why I am here. And thank you for the great love that I'm feeling expressing through me today as we walk into another dawn, alive with expectation of good, feeling blessed and joyful. In the name and through the power of the living and loving Christ presence, And so it is. And we all say, amen.
I happened to run across this song a few days ago. It's by Lauren Daigle, and it's called You Say. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. And you say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe, taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. I give you every failure, God, I give you every victory. Ooh, whoa, and you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
So thank you, Bram, for your wonderful words, and I'm grateful for all the music that is supporting us today. And now is our time to consider giving back to the center and knowing where we as a center are giving back to our community. And this month, in the month of February, we are giving to the Project Linus, which provides love, a sense of security, warmth, and comfort to children who are seriously ill, traumatized, or otherwise in need through the gifts of newly handmade blankets and afghans, lovingly created by volunteer blanketeers. And our donations go to help them purchase the materials to make these blankets. I found an article in the Las Cruces Bulletin from December 31st, 2021, and in there it said that our local Project Linus reported that despite having to cancel some blanket making sessions and meeting in parking lots because of the pandemic, Project Linus volunteers still made about 4,000 blankets in 2021. These blankets are donated to local hospitals and any one of 39 organizations in Las Cruces and Deming, such as the police department and fire departments, and then they give them out to children as the need arises. So we're very grateful to be giving 10% of all that you give to us over to the Project Linus this month in February. Thank you so much.